I thank Ms. Christina Williams for that important contribution to our discussions. Our final speaker is Mr. Aneet Kumar from Fiji. And like Ms. Williams, Mr. Kumar is a member of the European Commission Youth Sounding Board on International Partnerships. Mr. Kumar, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honourable Co-Chair. Honourable Co-Presidents, Honourable Members of the Joint Parliamentary Assembly of the African, Caribbean, Pacific and the European Union States, Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen. Good evening from Fiji and warm Pacific greetings. It is with excitement and a privilege for me to address you all at this 41st plenary session of the Joint Parliamentary Assembly. Honourable Co-Presidents, Honourable Members of Parliament and Excellencies, I am honoured to convey the warm Pacific greetings of our Pacific youth to this Joint Parliamentary Assembly, whose voices I will represent to the best of my abilities this evening as I speak to you all. I am very honoured to join Her Excellency Ms. Emma Theophilus, Deputy Minister of Information, Communication and Technology of the Republic of Namibia, and the Director General of EU's International Partnerships, Mr. Koen Doyens, and two of our amazing youth leaders and colleagues, Britannia and Christina, who have so eloquently set the stage for me during this session. I am pleased to be speaking to you all from the University of the South Pacific's headquarters here in Suva, Fiji, the university which is jointly owned and governed by 12 Pacific Island countries that serves students from diverse backgrounds from all over the Pacific region and beyond. It not only serves the region's need for high-quality tertiary education, research and policy, but also as an organization of regional cooperation and integration. First, allow me to say congratulations to the co-presidents and to every member of the ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly for coming this far. It is a difficult task to reach an agreement on such a large scale, especially where political will is required. The chief negotiators and delegations from each state have done a tremendous job leading to this negotiated agreement text on the partnership agreement between the EU and its member states and the members of the Organization of African, Caribbean and the Pacific States. And we hope that this new agreement is signed soon. Thank you for showing and proving it to us that diplomacy indeed works and that partnership and collaboration needs to continue post the Cotonou period for the benefit of all our people, places and prospects. Honourable Co-Presidents, Honourable Members of Parliament and Excellencies, as the global economy continues to recover from the coronavirus pandemic, the notion of free trade has somewhat continued to weaken. However, I am pleased to note that the new partnership agreement will play a huge role in different regions, strengthening political partnership between the parties to generating mutually beneficial outcomes on the common and intersecting interests and in accordance with our shared values. It is important to recognize the role that the Joint Parliamentary Assembly has played towards the Cotonou Partnership Agreement and the role that it continues to play. While I understand that the Cotonou Agreement has had its successes, delays and red tapes over the last 2 decades, it is, however, something to celebrate and reflect upon as we move forward. Here in the Pacific, our leaders have been working hard towards resolving many issues ranging from human rights, stable democracies and good governance, poverty, unemployment and inequalities, climate change, and many more. Today, youths make up the largest number of global population, and for developing and underdeveloped states, educated young population may hold the key for an inclusive economic growth as they will explore various sectors. Honourable Co-Presidents, Honourable Members of Parliament and Excellencies, I would like to invite your attention towards what we think and believe needs to be the priority areas of cooperation as we move forward. I note that the political dialogue between the EU and ACP was one of the pillars of the Cotonou Agreement and has been one of its greatest successes. I would like to implore this August Assembly to continue that political dialogue. We would like to see small islands developing states agenda and development finance, among others, to intensify into political engagement. Addressing issues of sea level rise and climate change related disasters cost a fortune to small island state economies. Societies are changing rapidly from the way we adapt to technological changes to the way we respond to them. And small state economies do not have the luxury nor the resources to really choose what they want. Voices of such small states are often drowned amongst the crowds at negotiation tables. We just have to take what's on offer at many times. It is a matter of life and death for many of us in many ways. We are greatly concerned about our future, especially when we think about the increased intensity of climate change-related disasters that knows no boundaries. It increases inequality across countries. Hence, climate change threatens not only economic growth or SDG 8, but it will also act as a poverty multiplier by increasing the number of poor people and by making poor people even poorer and exacerbating inequalities. As far as the Pacific region is concerned, I wish to highlight the following important areas from the initial text for your attention that needs to be at the heart of the ACP-EU cooperation going forward. Number 1, protecting the oceans and seas from various threats including climate change, ocean acidification, coral bleaching, overexploitation, and illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. Number 2, improving environmental and climate resilience while pursuing the sustainable management of natural resources. Number 3, building democratic, peaceful, and rights-based societies and making progress in gender equality and financial governance. Bolstering investment and private sector development for sustainable and inclusive economic growth. Number 5, strengthening ocean governance and the conservation and sustainable management of living resources. Number 6, investing in human and social development with special attention to the promotion of youth and to women's and girls' economic, social, and political empowerment. And finally, in relation to the threats posed by climate change and the significant risk incurred by small island developing states, the EU and OCPS must each aim to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. To progress in these areas, rules-based order and multilateralism is key, especially for small state economies. For the Pacific region, organizations such as the Pacific Islands Forum, the Forum Fisheries Agency, the South Pacific Community, and the University of the South Pacific and others will contribute significantly towards addressing the issues on the areas I have highlighted today. In addition to this, I call upon the members of the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States to optimize the Georgetown Agreement to deepen cooperation and strengthen ties among the OACPS regions internally at both institutional and membership levels. This will play a key role in building effective alliances in international settings that can drive global actions. Not forgetting that the OCAPS and the EU states occupy more than half of the seats at the United Nations. We can make a huge difference working together. Moreover, this will be important for the future that we all are working towards. Collaboration and partnership must be made solid from the ground up. This will be the foundation upon which we, the future leaders, will build upon. And looking at and reflecting on the amazing work that has been done thus far, through and under your leadership, I am confident that you will leave us a legacy that has a level playing field for every member and one that has progressed in an inclusive and meaningful manner where no one has been left behind. Honorable Co-Presidents, Honorable Members of Parliament and Excellencies, as the Honorable Co-President stated at the beginning of this session, the world is not the same as 20 years ago. A lot has changed. Much is at stake, from matters pertaining to global cooperation, economic relations, political engagement, global peace and security, and trade are all up for modernization to reflect both realities and demands of the 21st century and the expectations of all parties. Finally, I would like to sincerely thank Mr. Carlos Zorino and Mr. Peter Kenny-Lorea Jr., the co-presidents of the ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly, for giving me this opportunity to speak this evening representing Pacific youths from our Blue Pacific region. I would also like to sincerely convey my gratitude to the EU's Commissioner for International Partnerships, Ms. Jutta Urpilainen, for forming the Youth Sounding Board, which I am part of, that strengthens and brings youth voices together from different regions of the globe, truly making a difference from community level to a global stage. Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward for further deliberations.
Thank you very much again, Mr. Aneet Kumar, for your important contributions to our discussions. And a big thank you to our three young speakers for their statements. You have given all of us a lot of food for thought. Your ideas and your motivation inspire us and give us hope for the future. Please carry on with your work.